And that's it. Another weekend of South Melbourne WFC putting in the result we need. And after 5 rounds, we're very much looking in a very, very strong position for the remainder of the season. So, as always, let's recap around round 5 and go into a few talking points from the fixture against Box Hill United. First of all, the first half, nothing particularly special, but one thing we did see was strong pressing efforts going up the wing, particularly from Goff, Medwin, Lawson. So we are seeing some really strong attacking football up along the wings. That is something to be commended, to look forward to. Beyond that, perhaps not overly grand in terms of quality, but it was definitely the quantity that got us through the first half. Otherwise, in a few areas, particularly our corners, seemed a bit disorganised. Other players just didn't know where they were supposed to be. And in some situations, it is like little things like, oh, you just miss it, you're just a little bit too short, things like that. But there definitely was clear signs that something's missing, whether it's heart, whether it's positioning, whether it's just communication. So there is certainly some areas of concern, as we saw in the first half. Indeed, even defensively as well, we did look a bit shaky, and because of that, this puts a lot of pressure upon Barbieri, who does tremendous efforts. That's something we don't praise enough, just her efforts in quite often being left alone in a number of situations where she just has to make a decision in a split second to cover for 4, 5 players, including herself. On top of that, Sofia Sakalis making a fantastic return back to football. She's been looking in great form. Got a very, very strong double. The opening goal as well, which came from a bit of a ping-pong team effort. From Goff to Lawson, Sakalis, bang, job done. Now into the second half, we particularly saw players like Amy Medwin making her workload shine, particularly coming back all the way from defence. So the fact that she's constantly running back and forth, the full pitch, certainly shows the level of work, fitness, and effort she puts in to ensuring a strong performance each and every game. On top of that, not too much more to mention beyond just playing up the wings, which has been perhaps our strongest area, and the area that we've definitely shown where we do work well as a team. Beyond that, we still need to get a few things together, where there are a number of players that do look like they just, at times I just don't want to be there, or they just give up in the end. It's like, it's not what you want to see, not from a spectator, not from a club perspective, but nonetheless, despite through all the negatives, we are wholeheartedly in a positive position. And top of that, a couple other points to note is we saw 2 at least league debuts. First of all, we saw Crocker coming on to get a few minutes. Crocker, as you may or may not know, is our reserve keeper for this season. And we also saw the debut of brand spanking new signing, and I might bottle this, but Rainier Omiya. My Japanese isn't quite on point. What was on point was her efforts in making her debut, and of course we wish her all the best and a big welcome to South Melbourne. Now, let's dive in a little bit to see how the rest of the league sorted themselves out. So, opening up, we had Heidelberg hosting Bayside. They went on to be 5-1 winners at home at Olympic Village. Of course, we know our 3-1 result at home as well. On the Sunday, FE Emerging hosted Alamein at Knox. Alamein knocking Emerging off their posts with a 3-0 victory. Bulleen also had a 3-0 victory at home over Calder. This puts the table in a very, very interesting position, and certainly is closed in the ranks a bit, which is something incredibly exciting and just something you love to see. And it's certainly proving to be a very, very competitive season, even if we are just 5 games in. So up top stands FE Emerging on 12 points, only keeping on top by a mere single goal difference, where we are closely behind and just biting the shit out of our ankles. We're +8 goal difference, also 12 points. In third, we have Calder United, having suffered their second loss of the season. They are on 9 points and a +9 goal difference. Nice bit of symmetry there. In fourth, we have SC Bulleen Lions, also on 9 points, on a +3 goal difference. Not far behind in fifth, we have Heidelberg on 7 points, at +2. Alamein in sixth with 7 points and a +1 goal difference. Certainly languishing a bit behind, but nonetheless are off the ranks for their season. We have Box Hill United with their solitary victory, but a -15 goal difference, which is not too far behind with Bayside with their -17 goal difference, having yet to score any points for the season. Of course, now that we are 5 games into the season, a nice strong statistic we can start bring about, and something I believe is a very useful measure in ensuring what is and what isn't a consistent performance from the team. Now, my own philosophy, every 5 games you want to win more points than you've lost. So that means in every 5 you need at least 2 wins and a draw. So keep your head above. Oh, I must be wrong there. So even more ideal, 3 wins in every 5. That's good enough. Under Young's leadership, we have ensured 4 wins in 5 games, which is that little bit nicer, a little bit better. We certainly hope that Young is able to keep this momentum going and the team is able to continue to perform exceptionally well. And perhaps we can go on for a nice run once our sole defeat gets cleared away from the last 5 games and go a few weeks consistent winning 5 from 5. Now, speaking of statistics, these numbers games, not always the most fun. We still have our solitary Lucy Johnson in the top 5 goal scorers on her 5 goal tally. As when it comes to being penalised, we have no one showing in the top 5 for Yellows, and only one player still has been awarded a red card. So nonetheless, things are pretty consistent on that front. And so, on that final note, we look ahead to round 6. And leading off at the fixtures for this weekend, on Friday the 14th. Lucky there. We have Calder United versus FE Emerging. A very, very interesting battle for who will maintain effective leadership for the first third of the season. Now, it's certainly hard to pick a favourite and who we want to win or lose. So I reckon that split difference with that, let them draw and let us win. That will do. As for our 3 remaining games, they will all occur on the Saturday, That is the 15th. So first off, we have Alamein hosting Box Hill United at Knox. That is a 3 o'clock kickoff. From 3:15, you'll see Bayside host Bulleen from Kingston Heath. Also at 3:15, we have Melbourne's Great and Mighty Hellenic Derby, where we'll be hosted by Burgers up the renovated Olympic Village for the first time this season across either of our senior teams. So that will be a very, very exciting fixture for us to look forward to. Otherwise, in the news, of course, next week we have our FFA Cup, or our Nike FC Cup tie against Moreland Juventus, the old Zebras, at Lakeside. That is on the Wednesday night, if I remember correctly. Of course, amendments will be made if needed, so at least getting out there ahead, keep in mind our heads that we do have that cup tie next week, midweek. As beyond that, next week we also have our interview with Melissa Barbieri, which has been postponed a little bit since her initial signings, but it is very much underway. And so, considering the prowess and importance of someone like Barbieri in Australia's football history, but also its presence, we will be taking as many community questions as possible from those who just want to ask her, say something from the mundane to the deeply football, falsely, come what may. We will be taking your questions to her. So if you do have any questions, make sure to get in contact with us prior to this weekend's fixture so we can ensure that the question will make it through for the interview. Otherwise, until then, this has been South Melbourne Laser Supporters Fan TV. Come on.